Hello and welcome back to my channel. I'm Davina Katulski, and for those of you who are new to my channel, I'm a spiritual life coach, agape new thought spiritual practitioner, and a clinical psychologist. I'm passionate about supporting people to live their best lives and with things concerning the mind, the body, and the spirit. So I'm passionate about parapsychology, metaphysics, mental health, and physical health and well-being. And those are the kinds of things that I talk about here on my channel. So today I'm interviewing Jenny Karns, and we're discussing human design readings, which Jenny will explain in more detail. But if you're interested in systems like the Enneagram, astrology, and numerology, you're going to love this. So Jenny is a multidimensional healer with 17 years of experience in the healing arts. She began studying human design 5 years into her healing work and has since conducted thousands of human design readings. These include private classes, family readings, couples readings, and workplace readings, all aimed at helping people discover and align with their greatest gifts. She's done readings for me and my family, and it's been really helpful to know and understand one another better. And I recommend this work to my clients as well, to go out and get a reading and learn more about themselves. And we use that in our coaching together or in our counseling, if that's a good fit for them and something they're interested in. So first of all, we're going to start by, I want to ask Jenny to give us a quick review of human design so you know what it is we're talking about and how it can help. So Jenny, tell us about human design.
Awesome. Thank you, Davina.
Yeah.
I'm so grateful to be here. And it was so fun to do family reading with your family and to look at all the different ways that you guys connect with each other, what you activate in each other, what you are individually, and then what you collectively bring out in each other. It's so fun to do family readings and couples readings and workplace readings because with human design, you actually see how we affect each other.
Mm-hmm.
So, little overview of human design. It's a system. It's not like a belief system. It's just a system that brings a few other systems together. So it's a combination of I Ching, astrology, some of these ancient wisdom systems. So I Ching, astrology, Kabbalah, the chakra system, biology, quantum physics. The quantum physics piece looks a little bit more into like how we affect each other. Um, yeah, and each person with human design, it's based on your birthday, birth time, birthplace, and you get a chart pulled, and it's a body graph. So let's see, it looks a
So
little
like
bit
astrology and numerology, it's looking at your birth and whatnot.
exactly. So it's a bit of astrology, but it's not all astrology. It's
Mhm.
like a little bit like the chakra systems. Like, so each person gets something like a body graph like this,
Uh-huh.
and you can actually see that it looks sort of like the tree of life. It looks sort of like I Ching. You've got a little bit of chakra system, but we actually have two different chakras in human design. So you can kind of see what's happening here. So it's not like, again, not a religion, more like a system. And each person's chart is going to look totally unique and different. It's like a fingerprint of your soul, a compass for like who you came to be on this planet, what you came to like work on in this life, what you came to evolve for yourself, as well as what you came to evolve for the collective.
So how did you get into human design?
I had somebody do a reading for me. So I had started doing massage and Reiki and healing work of that kind, and somebody did a reading for me. And it was one of those like mind blowing moments of like, oh my gosh, that's totally me. When you're doing any form of self-awareness work, you're like, oh yeah, that's me. And oh, is that bad? Does that fit into the world? Does that work in the world? Like, so human design is this great tool to like actually help you understand yourself better. And if you've done self-awareness work, it actually helps you like sink a little bit more into self-love too, where you're like, oh yeah, okay, that is me. So somebody did a reading for me and it was like this hall pass to just be myself. And
Mhm.
I was like,
Yeah.
sometimes we need the hall pass. We need just like permission, like, hey, this is you, go be it. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is awesome. Yeah.
That's
And
good.
one of the things in my chart was like I had started doing healing work, but I was like having some health issues at the time. So I was like, am I going to be able to like help other people if I'm struggling in any way too?
Mhm.
And one of the things in the reading was like, oh, you have a defined root and you have a defined spleen, and those two things are hooked up. And root is like energy, and spleen is healing energy. So it was like, she was like, so you always have energy to do healing work. So whenever you put your hands on a body or whenever you start doing the healing work, you're going to have the
Mhm.
energy for it. And I was just like, it was such a weight off and such a relief because I like in my mind, I was thinking, what if I don't have enough energy, but
Uh-huh.
like really my body knew you're always going to have enough energy.
So you got confirmation that you could continue to do the work that you wanted to do. So
Exactly.
I know that like my top of the chart says like I'm a manifesting generator, and I know that there are several different types. There's about 5 different types. Can you
Uh-huh.
talk about what the different types are and what they mean and what you are, and maybe talk about, so I'm a manifesting generator, what that is, what you are, and what the other types are, so people can maybe kind of hear themselves and kind of get a sense of what they might be or what they want to look for?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So I'm a manifesting generator too.
Okay.
We're the plate spinners. We like to have
Okay.
lots of things going on all the time.
True.
Creative
True.
project here, another project here, an entrepreneur thing here. So the manifesting generators are the time benders. So they're always like they're building the plane as they fly it. They're crossing the T's and dotting the I's, and they're going back and doing that. So they're
Ah,
always like juggling lots of different things all at once.
yeah,
Um,
that sounds like
and
us.
yeah, seems about
All the
right.
different ways that we're doing things. Yeah, completely.
Yep,
Yep.
totally.
Mhm.
Yeah, and they're good at juggling lots of things. They're actually really good at that. So there's 5 different types. There's manifestors, generators, manifesting generators, which we are,
Mhm.
projectors, and reflectors. So generators are the bulk of the population, like maybe about 70% of the population. A percentage of that is us manifesting
Uh-huh.
generators as well. Generators are like the worker bees. They're the good energy. If you think of like a generator is like it's keeping the lights on. So like the generators are the ones that are like they're moving energy, they're keeping the lights on. And then there's the manifestors, which are the ones that are like running to the top of the mountain to see the big picture and then coming back and being like, hey guys, this is what we need to do.
Mhm.
So the manifestor's energy is pushing out more in order to create,
Like
and the
visionary kind of
generators are
energy.
drawing energy in. So for generators, they typically need to like decide what they want, who they want to be, what kind of things they want to work with, and then they respond to what comes to them. Like they answer the call,
Okay.
basically. So, and they respond to questions. So, like a manifesting generator, a generator needs to be asked, like, well, how do you feel about, or do you want to? And then they wait for that gut instinct sacral response to be like, oh, yeah, I want to do that, or oh, I don't want to do that. And it's less heady. It's more like gut, like caveman, cavewoman, like a grunt answer, like, or yay, or whatever it
Very
is.
somatic, very grounded
Yes,
in the
in the body.
somatic.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So it's the body response first, and then letting the mind or other things go, oh, okay, well, that's probably why, or that's why I want that. But like actually learning to listen to the body
Hmm.
and asking questions. So generators can sometimes get sort of stuck in their energy because they're like, I have energy to move, I have energy to move, but I don't know where or how to move it.
Hmm.
And they're waiting for that ask or that question. So if they aren't getting the question, they're not getting the invitation from somewhere in the world, then it's to ask themselves the question, like, how do I want to move this energy? What do I want to do with my energy? And then start cultivating that so that then they attract, they pull it in from the outside, and then others ask them for that. And then they respond to those invitations like, oh, that's me, that's not me, or that's for me, that's not for me.
Hmm.
And then the manifestors are pushing out and they're going and finding it. Their
Okay.
energy is going out. So with the manifesting generators, it's a little bit of out and in. It's a little
Uh-huh.
bit of a little like inviting it in, waiting for the question. And it's also a bit of that initiating as well.
Got it. So manifestors are a little bit like scouts or visionaries. They go out, they explore, and okay, good.
They're
And then
always
you said,
busy. They're very like sort of that that hum of a generator, a manifesting generator, which is like, oh, I'm gonna follow the clues and I'll just follow the energy and I'll leave when it's time. Like a manifester is the one who's gonna be in the room and they're gonna go, okay, I gotta go. And everyone else is like, wait, where are they going? What's happening? So their strategy, the manifestor strategy, is to inform and to let other people know what they're up to
hmm,
because the generators really want to like they want the bigger picture and they want to know how to move their energy. So the generators are like, okay, well, tell me where you're going so I know how to support or how to
uh-huh.
help. And the manifestors get angry if they feel like they're being held back. So they don't want anyone to hold them back.
Hmm.
So the best thing to do is to be like, hey, I need to go do this thing. I'll get back to you, or I'll be back in a few hours, or whatever the thing is, to like actually inform people what they're up to as they're running. Yeah. So those are 3 of the types.
Okay, and then the others were reflectors and projectors. Tell us
So
about reflectors and projectors.
yeah, so reflectors are super rare and projectors are also rare, but there's more projectors than reflectors. Reflectors are like 0.2% of the population. They're very rare. They're very like open. So if you look in the body graph, it's like there's certain things in here that are colored in and there's certain things that are in white. And a reflector is almost all white. So it's like everything's very open for them. They tend to like decision making is like they need a really long time, they need more time in nature, they're very empathic. I mean, we're all empathic in some ways, we're all like feeling things, we're all bringing our own energy to the world, and we're also like empathing and feeling others, but reflectors are like really empathing. And then projectors typically have more things open as well, but they typically have a defined head or defined mind. Not always, but the projectors are the ones that um, they are definitely the visionaries. They're like project managers. They don't always have as much energy centers or as many energy centers as like generators or manifesting generators.
Mhm.
So they'll look at manifesting generators or generators be like, oh my God, how are you getting all that done? Or how is that? But then projectors can see the big picture and they work like really hard within a few hour window and then they need a nap. Like projectors never should work an 8 hour job,
Oh,
but they're
wow.
like the overseers. They're really good project managers. So they're the ones that can put all the pieces together. They can like see what needs to happen. And yeah, they
Yeah.
typically like to do a lot of research. They love to be able to share what they know.
So
Yeah,
they're also very visionary as well.
very visionary.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're the ones like creating the future. Like the manifestors are out there like finding the things and creating the momentum for the next steps, and the
Uh-huh.
projectors are like the visionaries and
So,
see
so
where we're going.
manifestors, and tell me if I'm wrong, but it sounds like manifestors are more like active or going out, and projectors are more like seeing and envisioning.
Hmm.
Do you say? Okay. I'm just trying to understand.
And
This
like
is
if you
very
think of
new
a
to me.
projector, it's like they're literally projecting an image onto a screen. So the
Mhm.
projectors are the ones that like I feel like have a great responsibility at this point in human history. It's like where are we going? What is New Earth? What are we creating together? And how can we create systems that work for everybody? And the projectors are the ones that can put those pieces together and then create that vision that the
Mhm.
rest of us can implement.
Got it. Got it. So you talked about the things being open, the things that are in white are open. So
Mhm.
if you have more of a, if you have more openness, like you said with the reflectors, you're more empathic because you're feeling everything and you're taking in other stuff. And if it's fixed, is that right? Or defined, it means you have a boundary there. So it's like you're within your own experience and less within others. And you kind of, so I mean, both they can, it sounds like both things can be an asset or a
Definitely.
problem. Yeah.
Sure.
A
Yeah. And
liability. There's the word.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And whether you have something defined or open, it can be a problem or a liability or a
Huh?
strength. Just
Yeah.
depends. Or if it's open, it can be a liability or strength. Like with an open mind, it's like the open mind people can come in and look at what all the defined mind people are like working on the strategy and the project and the whatever. And the open mind people can come in and be like, eagle eye view and just be like, why don't you do that? So but we need both, right? Like we need the eagle eye view, and then we also need to know how to put A, B to C to A. You know, we need to be able to like actually structure it. But the open mind people are like, oh God, structure is really hard for me. But the defined mind people are like, I got structure.
Got
So,
it. So maybe some left brain, right brain ideas. But if you were to hold the chart up again, uh, there's like the white areas, and then there's what like red.
yes.
Can you talk about the different areas that we're looking at?
Uh-huh. So anything that's in white is open and anything that's colored in is defined. So anywhere that you're defined, you're bringing that unique energy to the world. That's something you can always count on. So like I was just saying with the defined mind, it's like you can count on being able to do structures and put things into place like that. Open mind people can't really count on that. So it's inconsistent energy. So anywhere where you're open, you have more inconsistent energy or empathic energy. You can have like a buildup of energy that has explosions, like an open emotion center person might be like, I'm totally fine. And then they're around a defined emotion person and they suddenly feel all the feelings and they can't tell if it's yours or if it's someone else's or, you know. So
Yeah.
knowing these things about our own self, we know like, oh, okay, I might be empathing somebody else in this way. Or, you know what, I can always count on this. Like I was like, oh, I can always count on my healing energy working for me. And you know, somebody else might be like, oh, well, and then, but like other things I can't always count on, like my emotional side, I can't count on that I'm going to like be able to access my emotions unless I'm around somebody who has it defined. And then I'm like, I can feel all my feelings and I can express my feelings. And
Nice.
yeah.
And there's full lines and half lines. What does that mean?
So anywhere that you have like a hanging gates are these half lines.
Okay.
So that's almost like making a phone call
Uh-huh.
and you've got all this energy to communicate something with somebody, but they don't pick up the other line. And so you leave a message. So
Uh,
there's a limit to how much energy can move with a
okay.
gate, but
Hmm.
that energy is there and it's always potential energy for you. But
Okay.
then if you have one gate that now connects to another gate, now you have a whole channel. So it's like these two potentials come together and now there's a whole communication happening. They pick up the phone, you pick up the phone, now there's a conversation, any number of things can happen. So anytime you have two gates connect to make a channel, there's energy moving and it defines both those chakras. So for you personally, I mean, this isn't you, but for somebody personally, like wherever they have a defined channel, it's like that energy is always moving for them and they can always count on both those chakras as well as whatever that channel is. And each channel has different energetics, each
Uh-huh.
gate has different energetics. So knowing for yourself what it is always like really good information.
And what's the big red blob in the middle there?
The big red block, this one?
Yeah. Is that a red blob? Yeah.
Yep. That's the sacral. So anybody who's a generator, a manifesting generator has that sacral defined.
Ah, okay. Got it.
Sacral is that gut instinct, the inner caveman, inner cave woman that's like, oh yeah, I want that, or oh no, I don't. And it's an energy center. Most of the lower ones are energy centers. The higher ones are more like projection or thinking or feeling, you know.
Mhm. And there are profile numbers too. What are the profile numbers?
Okay, so everyone's got two numbers and they're at the top of the chart typically.
Okay.
Um, Anything from 1 through 6 or combination therein. Two numbers. There's a puppy back here who's
Oh
busy.
no, he's the puppy's fine.
So profile numbers, if you think of like numbers in like relating it to in a house,
Mhm.
so anyone with a 1 would be like ground floor, like foundation building. They like to look at the foundation of things. What are we building here? Twos are typically like either hermits or artists, and like think of two relating to a house is like first floor, like the mad scientist inside the house where other people see what they're up to, like the windows are open and other people see them, but like they don't really always see themselves and
Huh?
they need more feedback, like, am I doing this right, is this okay? But they're also like naturally gifted and talented, they're very good at what they're doing, but then they don't always know that. Threes, think of it in a house, it's like where the ceiling meets the floor.
Mhm.
So it's like the ceiling of the first floor meets the floor of the second floor. And so it's all about transformation and change. Threes, anyone with a 3 in their profile is about like experience, learning through experience. They're about like transformation, healing work, stuff like that.
Uh-huh.
And then fours are more like second story, which is where you'd have your more intimate like moments with people. So like family, community, they take care of their own. They're all about like, who are my handshake deal connections? Who's my family? Who am I taking care of? And fives are like, think like Juliet out on the balcony, like they're out on the, like fives are typically people we're watching, we're curious about them, we're like, what are they up to? We watch their rises, we watch their falls, we learn from them. They are reality TV. They are the famous people, they're the people that we're like, oh, what's happening with them, I'm curious. But then they also get projected upon, like people are like, oh, that person's that or that person's that. So fives walk around feeling like, I'm not all these projections. Can anybody get to know who I am? You know? And then the sixes are like, think like rooftop of the house. Like they are like aloof on the roof, or they're studying spirituality, or they're contemplating God or the universe or philosophy. Like they're hanging out on the rooftop. So typically somebody with a six needs, like they're going to have another number, but like whatever that other number is what brings them down into the world. But they bring a lot of like higher wisdom, spirituality, stuff like that into whatever their other number
Trying
is.
to remember what my number is. Do you have my
I
chart there?
no,
Okay. I have
yeah,
to
I'm
remember
like
what it
trying to
is.
remember this too. I'm gonna look it up for you today though.
Yeah, I might be able to look up on something. Well, so
That's six.
what's that?
I feel like you at least had the six. I'm trying to
Yeah,
remember
I'm
that.
trying to remember if I was a 3 or a 6. Both of those sounded familiar. I might
Yeah.
be able to look it up real quick. So, tell us why, like, if somebody came and did a reading with you, what would they walk away with? Why would somebody want to do a human design reading? What's it gonna give them? How's it gonna help them?
More self-awareness, more self-knowledge.
Uh-huh.
I mean, if the whole point is know thyself,
Yeah,
in
there's
this
that.
life, and know how you tick, know what works for you, know what doesn't. So it's going to help you communicate yourself better to others. It's going to help you know what
Yes.
your boundaries and limits are. It's going to help you know like how to use your energy, how to make decisions, how like what to listen to within your body around how you're going to make decisions. Um, yeah. So permission slip to be who you are. And then a deeper understanding of who you are. Like often in readings, there's a lot of laughter because you're like, oh my God, how do you know that? And it's like, well, it's just in your chart.
Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing, right? And how would it help couples? Like if couples came in and they had a reading, because I know like years ago, I would do astrology readings with my former spouse every year. We
Yeah.
someone gifted that to us for a wedding present, and it was really useful to see kind of how we work together. So can you say how does human design sort of how would that compare to to astrology in that way?
So, I mean, I know you can do like a joint chart with astrology, but with human design, you actually can see like what things you activate in each other, and you
Mm,
can see like those little hanging gates. It's
hmm.
like often people we draw into our life are people that literally complete another gate, and now
Oh,
we've got
nice.
a channel with them, and now we've got
Uh-huh.
energy moving with them. So it's like, oh, this little gate's happening here, but this person has a gate happening here, and now all that gets lit up for them. So
Uh-huh.
if you think of anything like, I mean, we are our own unique individual selves. So a couples reading helps us like understand our partner and how they make decisions and
Yeah.
understand ourselves even better within that. But then we also look at what's this third energetic that gets created? What is this like thing that when you come together, you create uniquely and that you bring into the world as a couple?
That's great. That
Yeah.
sounds really when okay, so I'm looking at this thing and it says like there's an incarnation cross.
Hmm.
What does that mean?
That's more like life purpose
Uh-huh.
and what you came to evolve
Uh-huh.
in. That goes more into like gene keys, which is its own little branch of human design. But it's like these 64 gene keys, we each have four of them. And it's like four of these genetic mutations within spiritual evolution that are on the planet right now that
Uh-huh.
we all like chose four to kind of uniquely evolve within ourselves and to bring to the collective.
So this is something I did someplace else. I'm trying to find the one that you did for me. But it says, and I'm assuming it's going to be the same thing. It says profile 1-3. Does that mean
Oh,
anything?
1-3. Okay. Yeah. So that's that was your chart?
Yeah, but I want to do the one that, yeah, that's what it says. Does that sound
Okay.
right?
That sounds right. Because I know the three is like transformation and change.
Yeah. See, that's the one that most resonated with me. I mean, because while I like to be on the roof and doing all the spiritual things,
Yeah.
feel like I'm not in a monastery. I'm here, right? Part of this channel is about creating transformation together with others. It's not about going off on my own path and, pontificating and studying
Right.
alone. It's about really being in the middle of the house and creating transformation within. Yeah.
Absolutely. Which is that one, because you're like, how do we really get down into the body and
Mhm.
like really be here in this? But then also, what do we need to transform within ourselves in order to do that?
Great.
Yeah.
What are your
You
numbers?
have a defined head too. So your defined
Yes.
head is all like spirituality and philosophy. And so like
Mhm.
it's
Yeah.
not like your six is more in your defined head actually, because you're like, you need that inspiration, you want that spirituality, you're always seeking, 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 but then you
Uh-huh.
want to help others bring that into their body.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, totally. Yeah. It's like wanting to when we talk about manifesting generator, it's like going out. What is there? What is there to discover? Oh, human design. Let's talk about that.
Yeah.
Numerology. Let's talk about that. This
Yeah.
spiritual practice, this thing here, this tool. Now find it, learn it, integrate it, and then bring it back. How do we share it? How do we grow from this together? Yeah. I mean, that's sort of my whole life, right? Like that commitment and why I'm a psychologist, a spiritual practitioner, a life coach, like, ooh, this is a great system. This is a great system. How do we integrate all of these things and
Right.
use them and what can be? Yeah. What are your numbers, Jenny? And
I have a
like
3-6.
you were
So
three. Okay. So transformation and then,
about transformation, change, healing
yeah,
work. How do I help people from one step to the next? How
yeah,
do we do transformation? And then the 6 is like, it's all that spirituality. And
right.
so
Which completely makes sense.
my 3 brings me down into the world, because the 6, I'm like, well, I could just be out in nature, or I could just be like meditating and good. I'm good. But then the
Yeah.
3 is like, wait, but there's stuff to do on this planet, and I have to help the people transform whatever they need to transform, or
That's
understand
awesome.
what they need to understand in order to like be here and be in their body too.
And that's really cool because that makes sense. Our friendship, it's like we meet in the middle at 3, right? And like throughout
Totally.
the years we've known one another, it's like it's been you have been on your own spiritual quest and journey, and it's like you have connected with me with wonderful resources, spiritual resources, things I hadn't considered before, which is wonderful. So even
Yeah,
it seems like in a friendship, it's like one person, it's like I can bring some of the more grounding. I don't know if I do that for you or not or have in
yeah,
the past,
totally.
and you've brought this like really beautiful spirituality. We meet in this middle around transformation and our collective passion to help people heal and transform the planet and make it a better place.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's awesome.
It's
So
awesome.
how
Appreciate
can
you.
people reach you if they want to work with you and get a reading?
So my website is jennykarns.com. And I also have Instagram. It's Quantum Alchemy Jenny, and there's
Mhm.
links on there, how to work with me, and you can do a reading. I can do readings wherever you are in the world, because we can do over Zoom, we can do in person if you're in the LA area, but we can do Zoom or over the phone for human design readings, and that works with couples, it works with groups and families, anything like that.
Yeah. So I'll have a link in the chat below, in the description of the video, so people can find you. You do a lot of other cool things too, so make sure you check out Jenny's website, see all the other nifty, cool things she does. And maybe we'll have you back on again and talk about some other things that you do, especially like the skio, which is really a neat thing.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for your time. Before we end this video, is there anything I haven't asked you that you'd like to share about the human design work?
I don't think so. I think it's just it's actually it's one of these gifts that's on the planet right now for just how we understand ourselves. And I think as we're in this transformation time on the planet, like who we are and what we bring to that transformation is so helpful to actually know that. And it's empowering to know too, like, oh, these are my unique gifts and talents and what I can bring to that transformation process, rather than getting lost in the riptides of all of life and what's happening. So it's empowering, it's helpful in those ways.
Yeah, absolutely. Are there any books that you would recommend to people that they could read to learn more about it, to be more prepared for the session?
Yeah, there's I can actually grab and hold one up for a second. Hold on.
Yeah.
I do have a good
Is
one.
yeah, I mean, books are great if people want to like research a little bit more. Or you can just dive right in.
It's
I
really
do.
great to do an initial reading just so you actually understand how to read a chart. But for some basics on your own chart, if you pull your chart, this book is fabulous.
Nice. That's
Yep.
great.
Just gonna
Can
hold
you hold
this
that
up.
up one more
Jan
time?
Parkin, Human Design. It goes basic into each of your gates, each of your channels, stuff like that. So this is definitely the one I recommend for like a starter book, because some of the books out there are so heady and so intense that people are like, I don't know what I'm even reading. But this is a great like starter one. This will tell you
That's great.
about a 1-3 or a 3-6 or all your channels. So
Wonderful. I have to pick that up too. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Jenny. Appreciate your time today. And yeah, reach out to Jenny, check out her website below, and leave comments about if you've done human design before, if you want to do human design, any questions that you have, and we'll see if we can get those answered for you. All right.
Awesome.
Thanks so much.